Hello. Okay. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Can y'all hear and see me well? Let me send out the social media link here. Let me send out the social media here. Volume is low. Weird. Okay. Is it better? It's so like I don't understand this stuff sometimes. Like I can literally have changed no settings, but it's different. All right, hold on a second. Okay. Catlin, what's up? Has been a long time. I have to get back into the habit of streaming every week. So I don't know, I may like forget how to do it. All right, here we are. So the goal is to get back into the habit of streaming every week. I think I'm gonna do it on Mondays instead of Sundays. That's sort of the plan, because Sundays is often not a good day for me to do it, because Saturday is usually sort of my day to hang out and sleep in the next day. Although I'm starting pretty late today because I slept in, but that shouldn't happen every time. I've kind of messed up my sleep schedule, but I should fix it. But I think we'll still call it Livestream Sunday because that's funny to me. So the idea is going to be Monday earlier than now. Like it's like 4:40 p.m. here right now. I want to do it closer to around 1 p.m., 1 or 2 p.m. Let me pop this out real quick. I remember you saying in an old video you were an artist. What kind of art do you like to make, and where do you host it? Well, I don't do as much visual art as I used to. For now, the main creative outlet that I have is my YouTube videos, and like very, very occasionally I write something for a blog. I used to draw a lot, and I used to make music, but I haven't done either of those things in a long time, although I want to get back into it actually. But there's nothing like good or recent that's currently uploaded. If you like go way back into my YouTube archives, you can probably find some old hip hop songs that I made. Usually they're like kind of sort of comedy songs or like some to that effect, but I kind of want to get back into it. Have I ever been to Addison, Alabama? No. Thoughts on Matt Mundane? You mean Mundane Matt? I honestly don't know that much about him. I've heard about him, and I've heard some like unflattering things about him, but I have never checked it out ever. It's in Winston County, Addison, Alabama. I'm pretty sure I've heard of that. I don't know that. Like, I've lived in Alabama pretty much my whole life. Um, but I have not really traveled that far away from the city of Birmingham. It says Addison, Alabama has a population of 758. That is a small town. Am I into nerdcore hip hop? From what I've heard, I mean, I like anything that's good. I don't have like a specific genre that I'm specifically into, but I've heard some good nerdcore hip hop. Back in the day, I used to be a really big fan of MC Frontalot. And some people consider Blackalicious nerdcore, and Blackalicious is like one of my favorite hip hop groups of all time. I haven't listened to Frontalot in a long time though. But there was a period where I was like super into him and I was like listening to everything he did. I have not listened to Astroworld. Why are you always so calm? Better yet, how are you always so calm? I don't know. I get asked this a lot. It's just sort of my natural state. I don't have to try to be calm. It's just how I am. So it's hard for me to answer how I do it because it's just the natural state for me. Um, I guess it wasn't always my natural state. I mean, I've always been sort of like a reserved and easygoing person, and it sort of runs in my family. Like my dad is like that, and both of my brothers are like that. Uh, I don't know. I guess we just were sort of raised to just not not stress out about stuff that you can't control, and just just try your best and go forward and things like that. And it just sort of we just sort of internalize that. How bad is the crime in Birmingham? It's pretty bad. I'm pretty sure, but Birmingham is maybe top 5 most dangerous cities in America. If not top 5, definitely top 10. two people that I know personally got mugged in the past like week. I know that's not a very big sample size and that's very anecdotal, but just to give you an idea of something that's sort of commonplace. I know like tons of people that have gotten mugged. But to be fair about Birmingham, most of the crime is concentrated in certain areas. Like Birmingham, there's a lot of different towns and areas. But there's like these two main spots where all of the crime seems to happen. Where like most of the crime seems to happen. Why have I never eaten a sundae on stream? This title is a lie. I don't know. I've been thinking about trying to find a way to incorporate that. I'm trying to do a no sugar diet though, so it would be kind of bad for me to eat sundaes. I suppose I could. It's probably possible to make a sugar-free sundae. Do you know anyone affected by the opioid crisis in America? I was gonna say that actually. Like another thing about Birmingham is the heroin problem really, really affects Birmingham. And that's another even more depressing statistic is I know multiple people that have died from heroin overdoses. A couple of whom were, close friends of mine. Dangerous for everyone or just poor people? Well, I suppose it's more dangerous for poor people because the neighborhoods that I'm talking about are mostly inhabited by poor people. But one of the neighborhoods is like right near a college, and not everyone in the area is poor. So, and also a lot of people work in the area. It's sort of like the downtown district. So it's not necessarily only poor people, but it's probably mostly poor people. Since you're a calm person, when someone is screaming at you, do you yell back at them? Not usually. I don't even remember the last time I yelled. Well, I don't know, I probably like in a fit of drunken excitement, I probably yelled. But this kind of just happened the other day. This drunk dude was yelling at me, and I was just like, okay, dude, I'm gonna walk away now. Do I like Beatles movies? What are the Beatles movies? Like, what's it called? I forgot what they're called. I may have not seen them. Seems like most things are more dangerous for poor people. Yeah, it makes sense. A Sunday, lots of yogurt and stevia. I could see that. I just bought a big bag of stevia. I've been doing a lot of experiments. Like I'm trying to do, I'm basically doing low to no carb. I guess I'm not really doing no carb, but I'm basically trying to get as close to zero carbs. But I've been doing a lot of experiments to seeing like what kind of no carb concoctions I can make. Like I'm not that worried about trying to replace things that I want to eat. There are like only two things that I wanted to find suitable replacements for, and that's bread and fried chicken. The bread thing is kind of weird. Like you can buy low carb bread, but it's like expensive as hell. And I found this bread that it's not like no carb bread, but I don't know what they do to it, but it's lower carb. Like it's like, I think it's like 5 grams a slice, which, usually it's like fucking 20 grams a slice of bread. So I use that sometimes, but usually if I'm like gonna eat some sandwiches or something, I'm gonna eat like 2 sandwiches. So that's 4 loaves of bread. So that's still like 20 grams, which is usually the max that I want to have in a day. So, but there are other things you can do besides bread. Like you can do lettuce wraps. You can do like little almond flour goods. Like I've made almond flour pancakes, and you can make coconut flour tortillas and stuff like that. Yeah, Yellow Submarine. That's the name that I was trying to think of. I have not seen that movie. I know that it exists though. I heard that it was not that good though. I did make some decent fried chicken though, where you bread the chicken with crumbled pork rinds and Parmesan cheese. Pretty good. Uh, yeah, I don't know bread, and that's one of those things. It's like the whole point of doing a diet is you have to give up stuff that's not good for you. So it's like to some extent you probably shouldn't be so concerned for trying to eat bread. But I just love bread. Like the other things, I'm not even that like things like rice, potatoes, pasta. I'm not even that concerned about that. I've never been too huge on those things to begin with. Like I like them, but I'm it's very easy for me to give them up. But bread, I don't know about bread. Bread is too good. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of it is just expensive, but it's not that big a deal. I just make a lettuce wrap. Am I a guy of summer or winter? I don't know. Can I say autumn? Maybe it's because I live in Alabama where summer sucks and winter sucks. If I had to choose between summer and winter, at least in Alabama, I would choose summer. Although in Alabama, we our winters are getting shorter and shorter. Like it's almost fair to say that we don't even have winter anymore. We have like a winter week where it's like it's cold for like a week and then it goes back to just being kind of cool. But when it gets really cold here, it gets really cold and it sucks. And I would much rather be in the sun, even though being in the hot sun in Alabama also sucks. Have I ever been in a fist fight before? Probably with my brothers. Not really outside of that. I've been punched in the face before. I actually don't eat a whole lot of pork anymore. It's not because I don't like it. Well, I eat like ham. I like to put ham in salads, and if I buy that sort of low calorie bread that I was talking about, I'll put it in the sandwich. But I just eat a lot of chicken. I just think chicken just tastes better than all the other kinds of meat. What were the circumstances in which you were punched in the face? I think it was like seventh grade or something, and this guy got mad because I was kind of flirting with his girlfriend, and so he punched me in the face. And I'm pretty sure like It wasn't at school or anything. I think it was like after school. And I think I just went home after that. Which wasn't, at the time, it wasn't really a good look. It makes you kind of look like a wimp in front of all the kids. But I think I would do the same thing now because fighting is dumb. There's, I don't know, like, there's a lot of guys that believe that the whole fighting thing is really interesting to me because every like most guys want you to either truly believe or they want other people to believe that they're good at fighting. And for starters, probably nobody is good at fighting except actual trained fighters. But then there's this idea that you prove how awesome or how tough you are by fighting people. And it's just really stupid. Like I the whole idea of fighting is so stupid to me. So I kind of just refuse to do it. Now obviously I will defend myself if someone's like jumping on me. But if I am able to walk away, I probably will just walk away because it's really dumb. I mean, I don't disagree that I was justified to punch him back, but it's dumb to do it. Vengeance is dumb. It feels good, and it may like satisfy you, but it's irrational and dumb and accomplishes nothing. If it was a situation where he was continuously attacking me and not letting me leave, then I think I would have had to defend myself. But he just punched me once. But alcohol is dumb and you love that. I think that alcohol is only dumb if you misuse it. And I have misused alcohol a lot. But I've consistently improved my relationship with alcohol over time. And I would say 90% of the time it's fine. Like it's just, I would say 90% of the time alcohol is good. For me at least. Like I've had way more good outcomes from drinking alcohol than bad ones. But the bad ones can be pretty bad. Tupac or Biggie? Definitely Biggie. Did leaving Christianity make you more or less afraid of death? I guess more. I think I want to say that I was always afraid of death, even when I was a Christian, but maybe I wasn't. But yeah, death is pretty terrifying to me. Not necessarily death, but just the idea of not existing is, my brain doesn't like to conceive that, or my brain doesn't like to attempt to conceive that. It's kind of impossible to conceive of. And I think that is what makes it creepy to me. XXX Tentacion or Ski Master Slump God? I have never heard Ski Master Slump God. Tentacion seemed like he was onto something, but I don't think it was my jam. Uh, like I probably wouldn't have bumped it, but it seemed like he had a little more going than just some random dude. Like it seemed like he actually had some interesting thoughts in his head. The topic is whatever you guys want to talk about. If you want to talk about something else, then just ask a different question. Yeah, rationally, I agree with you that it's the same thing as before you're born. But it's just don't like to think about it. But I think the main thing with that is I like being alive. Um, and maybe like when I get really old and decrepit, being alive won't be that awesome to me anymore, and I'll be like, okay, I'm cool with it. Heiko, indeed. Rob, who's the greatest rapper of all time? My answer to this has always been Andre 3000. I don't really keep up with music that much anymore, though. Who's the most underrated rapper to you? I don't know. The Gift of Gab. We mentioned Black Alicious earlier. The Gift of Gab used to be like my favorite rapper. But that's some old school shit. Y'all young folks don't know nothing about no fucking Black Alicious. What's your opinion on free will? I hate questions of free will because I think different people have different ideas of what free will means. Um so I don't know what that is. I think it's pretty obvious that everything that we do, every choice we make, every thought we have is a result of an outside stimulus, something that happened before. So I think it's pretty obvious that we don't actually have completely free choice or free will. But I suspect that that's not what people are talking about when they say free will. Or at least that's not what some people are talking about. Is the Gift of Gab associated with Ari the Rugged Man? Yeah. Well, I mean, they've made some songs together. I think they may have been part of like a collective at one point back in the day. But they recently, maybe like a few years ago, did a song together that was really tight. I can't play it because of copyright, but let me see if I can find it. But I think they've... Yeah, Freedom Form Flowing. It came out... Oh, it came out last year, I think. It's Gift of Gab, Alright the Rugged Man, and this kid called Afro who I don't know, but he's really good in the song. I think he's like a younger guy, but it's really good, and the video is funny. So check it out. Freedom Form Flowing. And that's the type of shit that I grew up listening to. Like that's sort of like this sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's not even conscious hip hop because they're not really rapping about anything. They're just sort of flexing their technical rap ability and showing you like how fast they can flow and how well they can put words and rhymes together. And I grew up loving stuff like that. And so it's cool that they're still making stuff like that. Outkast is amazing, of course. Outkast is one of the only groups where like every single one of their albums pretty much is a classic. Like you can't really say that for a lot of musical acts. Chat, Atchison, thank you for the $5. What up, my ninjas? What up to you? When watching Trump and Putin, I couldn't help feel these people have met before. Any thoughts? Who knows, man? Probably, I don't know. Donald Trump is fucking weird. And I don't believe anything he says, so. Yeah, Idlewild is debatable, but Idlewild is dope. And there's a couple of, I would say, classic Outkast songs on it, like Morris Brown. Idlewild is, I would say, is probably the least good Outkast album, but it's still amazing. Like it's still like an 8 out of 10, and that's how good Outkast is. I saw Public Enemy in '91, so amazing. That would probably be good to see live. See, that's even probably before my time. I mean, I was alive, but I was like, what, 6? I think around that time I was listening to like TLC and Bone Thugs and stuff. I hadn't gotten into the sort of conscious hip hop yet. That may even be pre Bone Thugs. I can't remember the year. But I think it would probably be super tight to see Public Enemy live. My sort of heyday in terms of rap music was late 90s, early 2000s. To me, that's like the golden age of like sort of not even underground, but just like conscious technical rap music, like Fugees and Mos Def and like early Jay-Z and like Biggie and Nas and all that kind of stuff. So much good stuff came out at that time. And I used to be kind of a snob about music, but over time I began to appreciate pretty much all of it. Like there's some things that just doesn't appeal to me, but I kind of understand that there's a place for everything. When was America the most racist? I don't know. My what I would argue is probably the same amount of racist, but just different amounts of acceptance of that racism. And it seems like social acceptance of overt racism seems to be growing now, which is not what you want. Seems like we're going backwards. But I think the social media era has a lot to do with that, because it sort of makes everyone think, it gives people the false impression that their opinions matter. So now people can just get on the internet and yell whatever racist shit they want. And also the idea of influencers and creators who have these large followings, they can sort of validate these beliefs for people, and I think that's how acceptance grows. You know, I think obviously racism, especially overt racism, has gone down over the past few decades, but it seems like we're in a period inspired largely by Donald Trump, I would say, where sort of overt bigotry there's a movement to try to make it more socially acceptable, and there's just like a bunch of people that are just, they're hesitant to call it out, which is weird to me. Racism or culturalism. I don't know how prevalent culturalism is. When you say culturalism, like a thing that you might describe as culturalism is probably actually racism. Unless you're using culturalism in a different way than I'm thinking of. It seems people use racism as a way to degrade a culture. I guess what I'd argue is that they don't really care that much about the culture. It's the racism part that they're concerned about, and they sort of mask it with concerns about culture. Or maybe they've been sort of conditioned by a racist society to find certain cultures inferior. Like a good example is the idea of black people who say axe instead of ask. And so a lot of people are like, why do you say axe? You sound so ignorant when you say axe. When in reality, for one, this is how people talk. This is part of a culture. The way you speak, your language, your dialect, that's part of your culture. And it's not good or bad. That's just how it is. But I would argue that a result of a racist society that deems black culture and aspects of black culture to be inferior, that's why people think that is ignorant or sounds stupid. No one screams when like white people from Boston say, "Let me get in my car." To me that sounds just as weird as axe, but because black people say axe, that's the one that people complain about. So stuff like that. Do I meditate? I try to. Sometimes I like go through phases where I do it like solidly every day for like a month, and then I just sort of get lazy with it. But yeah, I try to. I strongly believe in meditation and mindfulness. I'm a very huge proponent of it, and have seen benefits from doing it. So I want to get into I want to make a habit where I do it every day, but if I'm being honest, I have to say that I forget sometimes. Correct. Race, there is no biological basis for race. It is genetically insignificant. Obviously, the amount of melanin in your skin is in part determined, like heritable, passed down, obviously. But you can't separate humans into groups based on their physical features. It's unfortunate that we can't see DNA. We can see physical features though, and as humans, this is just part of being a human. We try to develop patterns. Our brain automatically tries to develop patterns. So we see, the first thing we see is how someone looks. So then we try to categorize people. But that's not how genes and DNA works. That's just one part of the puzzle. And if you look at the entire puzzle, it's just not significant enough to separate people. How much of an effect do you think Me Too has had on male-female relations? Do you think men are now more hesitant to be forward or sexually aggressive with women? Probably, and that's a good thing. I don't know. The way that I think about it is, if the Me Too movement has you concerned about whether or not you should approach or talk to women, then you probably had some problematic ideas about how to interact with women, because it's really not that hard to not be disrespectful. All right, Electric, thanks for coming to the stream. Well, I don't have this sort of catastrophic idea that there's no hope for people to change. And I've seen people change. I've changed. So I know that people can change. And I know that movements and conversations like Me Too actually lead to change. It's not going to fix the world overnight, but it has definitely caused people to rethink things and to think about things. Any thoughts on the incel community? I think that everything that you need to know about the incel community you can find in ContraPoint's new video. And I guess that's our obligatory ContraPoint shout out in the stream. It seems like ContraPoints get mentioned every time I stream, which I'm okay with because her videos are dope as fuck. What's your take on the Me Too leader allegedly sexually assaulting a male? Just came out today. I haven't read anything about that story. I have to read it. I have to read the details. But yeah, it's funny because a lot of these things that are going on in society and the political discourse, it's so interesting to me because a lot of these feelings are things that I have either just outright felt before, outright said before, or sort of flirted with and kind of thought before. So it's very interesting. Like, I feel like I have a unique understanding of a lot of these things. And the incel thing is just another example. Like, I used to be really sad and bitter that I wasn't getting laid. And I was, as far as I know, my first time having sex was later than most people. So I was like, well into becoming an adult, still a virgin or whatever. And that, I guess that can make a young man bitter, and it can make you have, very like misogynist leanings. So it's just funny because I understand the feelings, but eventually you have to grow up. And I think that's probably, I made a Twitter thread about this, but that's kind of the problem with all these like social media and Reddit and stuff. Because you have like fucking 100 guys around you telling you, yeah, that the thing that you're feeling is rational, but it isn't rational. It's fucking stupid. But I didn't have like a Reddit community validating my irrational feelings. I had to work through them myself, and I had to deal with the consequences of like alienating everybody because I was so annoying and pathetic. And I eventually had to come to the realization that I was being a jackass. But if I just sort of like isolated myself on like forums and 4chan and stuff and chat rooms, I it probably would have taken me much longer to get out of it, if ever. And with me, I don't know if this is just an anecdotal thing or a coincidence, but with me, like growing up, I never felt like I was a sort of attractive or desirable person. And I felt like that's the feedback that I was getting from women was like, well, no one wants to date me or have sex with me or make out with me. And I even had like women tell me I was unattractive like back in the day. But for me, as soon as like almost like within like as soon as I changed my mindset, as soon as I realized that I was being an idiot, I started getting more attention from women and more compliments about how I look and things like that. And I think there's like a lot of factors in that. It could be a coincidence, but I think just in general being pathetic is unattractive. So that's probably why people think you're unattractive, because you're just pathetic and mopey. Also, when you get sort of your self-esteem back, you just sort of take better care of yourself. You have better hygiene. You take more pride in how you present yourself to people, things like that. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And the thing about the whole incel thing is I don't want to. It's true that that incel can be a thing, but the vast majority of these people, their conspiracy theories about women and stuff are just ridiculous. Like most of them are just perfectly normal looking guys, and they're just, I don't know. You know what I mean? But incel can be a thing. Like, sometimes people with disabilities have trouble finding, sexual intimacy, things like that. But that's not usually who most of these guys are. Was 4chan always racist? Because I remember way back in the day, like when I was in college, and I didn't really frequent 4chan, but I would go on there every now and then, and it seemed like it was just mainly just a bunch of like edgelords who would share like fucking anime porn. Sometimes they would show like actual child pornography and stuff like that. But I don't know if it was like racist. Maybe it was, though. Maybe some of the boards that I didn't look at, they were slowly brewing up. It's all about the skull. Have I ever experienced racist sexual objectification from white women? Probably. I've thought about this before. Like, I wonder how many times I've gotten laid because of a fetishization of black men. I know it's happened before. And I know, like, there was this girl. I can't tell the story. She might actually be watching. Yeah, I mean, I think white people have been calling each other the N-word as a joke since like day one, though. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, it was very memey and lolsy, but I didn't know there were just like legit Nazi strategizing on 4chan. Like, that seems to be more recent, or is it not? Do you think people are too eager to label things cultural appropriation? White people getting henna, opening taco trucks, it doesn't matter, deserve such a critical eye. Um, So I made a video like many years ago about cultural appropriation. It's actually one of my most viewed one of my most viewed videos. In general, I think that the cries of cultural appropriation are overdone. But the thing is, like, it's something that's worth talking about because there's a reason that people are mad, and I think that the reason that people are upset about it has not been properly communicated. Sometimes I think it's just dumb. Like, I think if you like something from another culture, then you're allowed to like it. Like, the refrain that I use in the video is "You're allowed to like stuff." I don't have a problem with that. I don't care. But, there's certain things that are worth discussing. For example, a black hairstyle, for example, if a white person uses a black hairstyle like dreadlocks or cornrows or something, or hairstyles associated with black people, black culture, black hair, a white person can walk through society and still be seen as a normal professional person with a hairstyle like that. Meanwhile, black people, we continuously have to deal with people telling us that our hair is unprofessional. We need to straighten it or cut it. If Kylie Jenner puts an Instagram with cornrows, people are like, "Oh man, she's so unique and brave." Meanwhile, black people have been wearing cornrows for fucking centuries. So it's that sort of thing that's sort of upsetting to people. And I think that's worth talking about. But I think the way you talk about it is not by like accosting white dudes with dreads in the hallway of your fucking college. I didn't see Nicki Minaj's breakdown on Twitter. And then there's situations where people are obviously stealing from a culture for their own gain and they don't really give a shit about the culture. And that, I don't want to try to read people's minds, but there are people who have been accused of that. And if that's what's happening, then I don't agree with that either. I think a good example of that might be Miley Cyrus. Now, in the video that I'm talking about, I argued that I think that Miley Cyrus just likes hip hop music. And it's possible that she went through a phase where she just likes hip hop music. But the way that she sort of eventually just sort of just dropped it flat on the floor, just said, "I'm not doing this anymore." That really makes me suspicious that she was just using it for profit. But who knows? I try not to be cynical, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And Miley Cyrus made some bangers back then, so I want to say that she enjoyed what she was doing. I don't know what's going on with Nicki Minaj. I keep hearing random stuff about her. And then there are some examples of cultural appropriation that I think are just weird and potentially problematic, but I'd have to think about it. Like going back to the music thing, a lot of people were upset with Iggy Azalea because she was, I'm pretty sure she's Australian, but she was putting on this weird accent that I think was supposed to mimic like black people. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, I don't get why you do that. And to some extent, I have to think about it. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's weird. it would be like if I made a song and I did it in a fucking Scottish accent randomly. Why? Or you have like the Rachel Dolezal thing, which to me I think is undeniably problematic because she's sort of adopting the struggle and the culture of a group that she wasn't part of. Like she literally put on a costume. And that's just bad. Why do disingenuous people give their opinion on things? Roaming millennials take on reparations was so trash. Well, like I was saying earlier, social media has convinced us that our opinions matter. And here's the thing, like, no, like your opinion doesn't matter. Like in general, your opinion doesn't matter, but the problem is everyone thinks that their opinion matters. Especially when you are a content creator or a public figure or an influencer, and you have all of these people that are there telling you that they want to know your opinion. It may make you think that you can speak about anything just because people want to hear it. And I think that's a big problem, especially in political spaces. I try to avoid this. There are certain things that I don't talk about because I don't know anything about it. And me talking about it would be just stupid. Now, sometimes I try to give like a sort of a generalized base version of something because I think that's useful, or at least my theory is that it's useful for people who have never been exposed to certain things. For example, I made a video about like trans people a while back, like a couple years ago. And that's not my lane at all. Like I don't make videos about that because I don't know a lot about that. And my opinion on that is worth not that much. However, I thought it might be useful to give people just a base like intro to what that is and why it's a thing and why people who say that it's wrong are wrong. And you know, maybe that wasn't a good idea, but I'm satisfied with it. So I do that sometimes. But you don't see me talking about things that I don't know anything about. And I try not to do that. But I understand like if you have like, you know, 1 million followers and you're known for talking about stuff and you know it's a hot topic that'll get you a lot of views, you know, it's hard to avoid. Well, not hard to avoid, but you may be very tempted to talk about something even though you don't know anything about it. You probably aren't going to do the research on it. And if you do the research on it and what you learn doesn't confirm your bias, you're probably not going to share that with people. So but I think my channel is different from a lot of other channels. Like I think my channel is more about sort of broadly touching an idea and just sort of getting a conversation started. Like I've said this many times, but I don't ever want to be perceived as an expert on anything. And my channel is generally not intended to be informative or educational. It's just some ideas that you can think about. That's basically what it is. I think other channels come off very, very much more sort of these are the facts, or this is educational, or I'm an expert on this. And that's cool if it works. And, you know, you can make yourself an expert on something just by researching it enough. And I've done videos where I've done a lot of research. Well, I mean, usually I do research for every video, but some videos were meant to actually share what information, and those it require a lot of research. So often do you Contra, Lindsay, and H-Bomb frolic through the Bohemian Grove? That sounds amazing. I love that Lindsay is. See, I don't know. Lindsay has a way of like all her videos are about like movies and stuff, but she obviously has sort of a progressive slant to her ideas, and obviously on social media, like you can tell that she's a lefty. But it's interesting that people understand to lump her in with people like H Bomber Guy and ContraPoints, even though the videos, like, she doesn't really make political videos. You might have been listened to by someone who wouldn't have listened to a trans person, which I hope leads them to eventually listen to trans people. And this is what sort of keeps me going. Like, I get messages all the time, and I like when you see like YouTubers, especially like political or leftist progressive YouTubers, and a lot of times you see them just getting attacked by, they're getting dogpiled, they're getting attacked by other YouTubers. I want y'all to keep in mind, we get messages all the time, and I've confirmed this with other people. We get messages and emails all the time where people are like, you changed my mind, or you helped me think about this in a different way, or I used to be an anti-feminist, or I used to be a shitlord, I used to be right-wing, and you helped me think about it. We get messages like that all the time, and that's part of what keeps us going. So, it kind of sucks when it seems like we're just shouting at the wall, but we have to sort of remember, and I want y'all to keep that in mind too. I think that certain people are even. Well, I think that's why there's so many different YouTubers, because different people are motivated by different styles. Like sometimes some people won't change their mind until you just literally just yell at them directly in their face and just make their biases and failings very obvious to them. While other people, you have to be more subtle. You just have to sort of slightly nudge them a little bit at a time, and then eventually they change. And different people have different styles, and so I think that's why it's good that there are so many people that are doing different work. All right. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna start. I said that I was gonna do this before, but I'm gonna start sharing videos on the community tab on my channel. Just sharing videos from throughout the community. I think that probably most people who are subscribed to me are also subscribed to some other people who make similar videos, but I just want to make sure that all of these videos get as much traction as possible, because I think we are in the middle of a sort of leftist reformation on the internet, and we just need to make sure that it keeps going. And it's good, like this. I remember back in the day, I don't remember there being too many like social justice channels or politics channels back in the day, like when I started taking YouTube seriously. And like there were a lot of like atheist channels, and every now and then they would talk about politics. Particularly, usually they would just talk about like Democrats and Republicans and like things like that, but never about like social issues like race and gender and stuff. And so like I made some videos about that back in the day, and I really at the time I really felt like I was the only one that was doing it. I probably wasn't, but I just didn't know anybody. And then there's sort of after that there was sort of and at the same time I would talk about the other side too, like my problems with the left and stuff, because like I want to be fair, I want to talk about everything. But after that was sort of like Gamergate and the rise of the anti-feminists and stuff like that, and I was like, wait, what's going on, guys? And I was like, wow, this is like getting out of hand, and there's nobody that's countering this. This sucks. But that's when I found people like H Bomber Guy and ContraPoints and Cat Black and Marina Watanabe and like Riley Dennis and just people like that. And I was like, oh wait, these people are here. I just didn't know it because they're smaller. But now everyone's growing for the most part, and it's awesome. Like Lindsay, I'm calling it Lindsay. Give it like 2-3 years. Lindsay, H Bomb, ContraPoints probably will reach 1 million subscribers. Give it like 3 years, maybe sooner if they like have some more videos that blow up. I think that one, if not all of them, will reach 1 million subscribers. I'm very close to 100,000 subscribers. I'm very excited about that. If things keep going at the rate they're going, I should reach 100,000 in a little less than a month, which is good, or a little less than 30 days, I should say. I still am not sure what I want to do for that. I want to celebrate it because I've been waiting for that milestone for so long. Talking about change, though, a thing that I've been thinking about a lot, which kind of, I don't know, like, you probably heard about this guy's name's, I think it's Christian Picciolini or Piccioloni, I think. But it's that guy who's like a former neo-Nazi, and now he runs advocacy to try and help other people get out of the movement. And so he's been doing a lot of stuff lately. I think he has a new show or something, and he's been like promoting it or something. But his whole thing is he believes compassion is the key. Like he doesn't believe that you're gonna debate a neo-Nazi into not being a neo-Nazi anymore, and that that kind of makes sense. So his thing that he always says is, he challenges you to find someone that you think doesn't deserve your compassion and give it to them. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because the theory is that a lot of this stuff he focuses on, Nazism and stuff, and white supremacy. But a lot of these other things like incels, even anti-feminism to some extent, a lot of this is based on personal like neglect and self-loathing and feeling of abandonment and stuff like that. And that's why people fall into these toxic sort of tribes. And a lot of times, or at least the theory is that compassion is the thing that they actually need. Like they don't need you to yell at them, even though they don't necessarily deserve your compassion. The idea is that compassion is what will actually cause them to reconsider. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately because that doesn't seem to be the main idea from progressive activists. Like I don't think that that's what most people are going for. Which I understand. Like it's, I don't think you're required to show compassion to someone who is like attacking you and being a bigot to you. But we have to think about what is actually effective. This is the thing I've realized about activism a lot. A lot of the time, a lot of people's activism is not designed to make the world better. A lot of people's activism is just designed to like vent and express themselves and get revenge and things like that. And like I said, that's understandable. Sometimes it's justifiable. Sometimes it's not. But like I said before, like things like vengeance is not good. it's a bad thing. And I really think the point of activism should be what is most likely to make the world better. So it's something worth thinking about. I'm still thinking about it, but I think it's worth thinking about it. And I just been seeing him a lot lately, so it's made me think about that a lot lately. Like, in what ways can we more just use compassion more? And I also think it's not everybody's job to do that. Like, for example, if you're a trans person and you're dealing with, I don't know, someone like Ben Shapiro or just someone else who's just like extremely transphobic and just a complete douchebag to you, it's probably not your job to show him compassion. Like, you don't need to do that. Ben Shapiro is a bad example because he's a public figure and he has a vested interest in being the way he is. But just like people in general, like other people, I think that's why it works for someone like Picciolini, because I think that's his name. Because he's a white man, he can make the first move on somebody. So I don't know, it's just something to think about. Picciolini. Yeah, Picciolini. Not Picciolini. What do you think about Alex Jones being kicked off multiple platforms? Well, if I had a platform, I wouldn't let Alex Jones on it. So to that extent, I agree. But the problem is I don't believe that any of these platforms actually give a I don't think they have actually like done an honest review of Alex Jones's work and decided that he's not fit for their platform. Because if they would have ever done that, he would have been kicked off years ago. And also, it's very suspicious that all of this happened within days of each other. So it just seems to be a response to outrage and companies saving their own asses. So it's kind of bittersweet. But I don't think that he belongs on a public platform because he's a conspiracy theorist. He's a dangerous conspiracy theorist. He constantly references calls to violence. Even, just the Sandy Hook thing, that alone should have been enough to just have him erased from the public internet. Was I a Mobb Deep fan? Kinda. I mean, it was fine. I didn't really follow them that closely, but there was some good stuff in there. I wonder if compassion works with people who have some similarities with radicalized people, because as a woman, I often feel inaudible to some men I've tried to talk to. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I haven't completely figured it out. And like I said, for some people, I don't think it's your job because of just the nature of the situation. But I don't know. I've seen situations where, for example, women will talk to men, and a lot of times just meeting the person that you think you hate can help you change your mind. But I don't know. It's just something to think about, I think. For now. We'll think about it. Sometimes one of Alex Jones is just one big joke that everyone is taking seriously. Well, I don't believe that Alex Jones believes the things that he says. But I think that he wants people to believe the things that he says. And that's the problem. So I don't believe that he's just pulling a prank on us. I think he's very, very specifically and honestly trying to get people to believe ridiculous shit for his own gain. That's what I think. Was Jay-Z putting Prodigy's pictures on the Summer Jam screen an example of toxic masculinity? Well, sure. He was making fun of him for like being in a play or something, right? There's nothing wrong with that. What does he gain by spouting so much bullshit? Well, for one, I don't know if you've ever watched an Alex Jones broadcast, but like every 10 minutes there's a product being pushed. So that's a big part of what he has to gain. He gets this very loyal, almost brainwashed audience, and then he sells them some bullshit and they just buy it because they believe that he's a truth teller. And in this, with respect to this candidacy or this presidency, he's got an audience with the president. He's gotten like the favor of the president, which is really, really dangerous. It's like that's a huge amount of validation and power. That's the thing about not only pretty almost any industry where you're selling something to someone or where you're providing a product for someone, including like a video or something. If you find if you find like a narrow niche, a narrow audience, you can be very successful. Like very few things that are designed to appeal to everybody are hugely successful. But if you find like a very small demographic, not necessarily small, but just a very specific demographic, and you just cater everything you do to that demographic, you can be very, very successful. And if that demographic that you're targeting happens to be like the most sort of like gullible, impressionable, simple-minded group of people in the world, then you can make a bunch of money off them, because if you convince them that everything you say is good and everything you say is right, you can make a bunch of money off them by getting them to subscribe to all your shit and getting them to just buy whatever product you push, even if it's just like some random bullshit that doesn't do anything. I have not seen Black Klansman. I probably want to go see it pretty soon, actually. I saw one of your comments in a Knowing Better video. You just started watching him. Maybe that's why it's popped up in my feed. One of my comments? What did I comment on? I don't remember. Are you sure it was Knowing Better? I think that was either Three Arrows or Thought Slime. It's possible it could be Knowing Better, but I'm looking at Knowing Better. Like, I remember, I've heard of this channel, but I don't think I've ever watched any of this stuff. Unless it's like really old and I just don't remember. I remember leaving that comment on Three Arrows, but I may have left that comment on a lot of channels because I do that a lot. And I also recently started watching Thought Slime. It was another great channel you guys should watch. Another underrated channel. How's Three Arrows doing? He's been growing so fast. It's kind of dope. Am I hitting the mic a bunch, by the way? 54,000 subscribers, not bad. I was thinking he might be like near 100,000 by now. I love when good channels succeed because there's a lot of good channels that aren't doing that well. What college did I go to and what I major in? I went to the University of Alabama. I majored in English, but I didn't graduate. Yeah, he's still doing good. He's still getting like 200 subscribers a day. Do I regret not going back? I don't regret not going back, although I think it might be cool to go back just to finish and just say I did. And I'm also just more interested in learning than I was. The problem is back in the day I just hated school and I just never gave a shit about it, and I just it was boring and dumb. But these days I'm actually more interested in like learning stuff. So I think I would enjoy it now. But the point, the main purpose, the only reason that I went to school was to increase my chances of getting a good job. And right now I am more interested in the career that I'm in right now, which I don't need to go to college for. So I don't really regret not going to college. Although I can't guarantee that what I'm doing now is going to pan out forever. So it would be nice to have that to fall back on, but I'm not that worried about it. I mean, I think that there are other reasons to go to college besides just getting a job. But it may not be the conscious reason why people go. There's no guarantee with a degree, true, but it's better chances than pursuing a fucking online content creation job. Your chances are better, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I think that even the fact that I've gone as far as that I've come as far as I have, I'm just like very lucky to even be here. Like sometimes people ask me like, every now and then people are like, hey, what do you do? What do you do for a living? What's your job? And I'm like, I make YouTube videos. And even when I say it out loud, it's like, damn, I really get to do that. That's crazy. I don't make a whole lot of money yet, but it pays the bills, and that's crazy. But eventually, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make some money. I've been doing well lately. Things are growing, so hopefully that continues to happen. But you know, for example, like if I wanted to start a family or something or get married or something, I don't make enough money for that, and I eventually would like to. So eventually, if this doesn't pan out, I'm gonna have to figure something out. But for now, we're good. We just discovered T1J through the Sam Harris video. It was a great video essay. Thank you. The Surfs, are you a YouTube channel? Are you a content creator? It looks like you are. 2K subscribers, not bad. But yeah. Has Sam Harris personally reached out to me about the video? No. And I'm not sure what would come of that. Oh yeah, I think I remember that email. Did I respond to you? I had my computer died, so I was without a computer for like 2 months. So I missed a lot of old emails, and there was some that I was supposed to respond to, but I forgot. I'll see if I can find the email and get back to you. No, Harris did not contact me. But given the way that he usually interacts with people who criticize him, it's unlikely that I would have sort of entertained a conversation with him. But I mean, he's got better things to worry about than just some random fucking YouTuber with less than 100,000 subscribers. I would not be surprised if he has heard of the video, though. I'm sure that his followers fucking spammed it to him because it did get a lot of exposure. And he plans on doing economics-based videos. I don't know if there's an interesting idea that I feel like is worth talking about. Electro Main, thank you for the 444. I missed your videos, brother. Welcome back. Thank you. Currently writing the next video. I'm gonna try to get it out before the month is over. Gonna stream for about another 30 minutes. We are reaching the 2-hour mark, and I'm also kind of hungry. Go make me a lettuce wrap or something. Actually, it's pretty much dinner time, so I might just go make some dinner. How long is the creative process of writing? It kind of just depends. Depends on a lot of things. It depends on sort of the topic and how much I already know that I want to say about it and how much research I have to do. It also just depends on my writing schedule. Like sometimes I'll just sit down and write like for 6 hours straight. Sometimes I'll just write for like 30 minutes, take a break, write for 30 more minutes, take a break, then wait till tomorrow, write for an hour, wait the next day and write for an hour. So it just kind of depends. I guess if you just combine the total, it's usually a few hours just to write the whole script.
How did you like that ContraPoints video?
Lecture main tip 444. How did you like the ContraPoints video? I think it was great. Like every ContraPoints video, I think this is probably one of the better ones. One of the ones that I like the most recently. I like this one and the Tiffany Tumbles one a lot. Those are like my two most recent favorite. What do you think about big YouTubers with an apolitical channel who talk suddenly about big topics without doing research, like PewDiePie, for example, on the wage gap? Yeah, that's pretty annoying. But like I said, when you have so much followers and so much validation, it's really easy to think that your opinions matter, even when they're uninformed. So I don't know. One thing that I like about ContraPoints is she makes her videos are infrequent, but that just gives her time to make really good videos every time. And that's something that I struggled with before, where I was like, well, I need to keep putting out content every week. But it's hard to do that, especially when you're a one-man show like I am. So what ends up happening is you put out half-assed stuff or just stuff that doesn't require that much effort. And what I like about ContraPoint is she's proving that you don't have to put out video after video after video every week in order to maintain an audience, in order to grow. Like, people will wait for a good video. That's a lesson that I learned from ContraPoints. People will wait for a good video. But if you put out a bunch of bullshit every day or every week, that might drive people away. How much better is the new computer than the last one? It's slightly better. It's not like a huge upgrade because, you know, I'm still limited in funds, but it is definitely better, and it's noticeably better. Like, this is how much better it is, or this is one example to give you an idea. Like, my old computer is, I got it like 10 years ago, and even when I got it, it was refurbished, so it wasn't even new when I got it. And the video, the graphics card, it had, like, you know, motherboards usually have an onboard integrated graphics card that's usually pretty shitty. And that graphics card that I had on the old computer was really bad. I couldn't play any games on it. Like, it was terrible. So I replaced it with an external, not external, but I replaced it with a graphics card. I think at the time I had I got NVIDIA GTX 650, I think, which 10 years ago, that still wasn't top of the line, you know. But that was, you know, it was like maybe like the third best one or something. So the new computer, the integrated graphics on the new computer is better than the $200 graphics card that I bought back then. So that's an idea of how much better the computer is, and just how much newer it is. So does that mean a bunch of mood lighting for you? I don't know about all that. The thing is, if I'd started doing something like that, it would be very obvious that I was copying ContraPoints. But I do want to experiment more with the visuals. This is something I realized about making YouTube videos is people like visually interesting things. And that I think that's one of the reasons why my videos, you know, they haven't, or for a while they haven't sort of caught on, like even if they're like pretty good information, because it's just like it's just a dude sitting there talking. Like people just people aren't into that as much anymore, you know, just sitting there talking. People want to see visually interesting things that keep their attention. So, and that's why I started experimenting more with the style of my videos. And like as soon as I did that, I don't know if it's a coincidence, could be a coincidence, but as soon as I started experimenting more with the style and visuals of my videos, I started getting more subscribers and more views. I don't know. So I am going to start thinking about more stuff like that. I don't know about the lighting and stuff, but we'll see. Because the thing about it is, and this is sort of the catch-22 of being a YouTuber and probably being any kind of creator, is, you know, in order to get a lot of those effects and, you know, props and stuff, you need money. Like, it costs money. Like, those light bulbs and light fixtures and stuff that are used in videos like that, they ain't free. You got to buy them. But in order to get money, you have to have income. In order to have income as a YouTuber, you have to be successful. You have to get views. But the point is, I'm trying to increase my exposure by having more, better, like more visuals. So it's like a cyclical problem, and it kind of sucks. And because, you know, not to be rude, but, you know, a big part of the reason that ContraPoint's videos are so visually interesting is because she has the budget now to buy props and buy lights and microphones and all kinds of stuff to just make the videos look good. And that's awesome. Like, that's good. I don't have that kind of budget yet, but we'll get there. Electromain, thank you for 222. Did you find your intro on your old hard drive? No, I have to buy an adapter so that I can basically turn my internal hard drive into an external hard drive. Actually, I should. I'm gonna look that up as soon as I get off this stream. I've heard that you can get one pretty cheap, so I'm gonna try to do that. I'll probably just order it today. Your local community college has a film program that might let you borrow those stuff. Yeah, you can. I have never looked into it, but I'm pretty sure you can. You can, at the very least, you can rent stuff for relatively cheap. Is my Amazon wishlist stuff current? I think it is for the most part. I need to add more stuff to it, to be honest. I should put like more stuff from my videos in my wish list, shouldn't I? Let me look at my wish list. Yeah. Wait, I don't need this anymore. Yeah, most of the stuff on my wish list is just stuff that I like need for my apartment. Like I have like a vacuum cleaner and like I had a toaster on there. Someone actually bought me the toaster. That was dope. I had like a vacuum cleaner, a TV. I don't need need that anymore. Yo, the Canon 80D is $700 now. It used to be like $1,000. Need to pick that up. I have a bunch of books on my wish list too. I also have a Nintendo Switch on my wish list. If anyone wants to buy me that would be really dope. But you know, like I said, things, especially since like starting with the Simpsons video that got a lot of buzz, and then especially when the Sam Harris video dropped, I've been getting a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new views, and people are sending me messages and stuff, and I've gotten. I think the fact that I took such an extended break sort of hurt me, but I've gotten a lot of new patrons. The total number of patrons is not more, because I think I lost some patrons after taking a large break, but that just kind of happens. Like when you take a break, you just kind of lose people because they're like, well, what am I paying for? But once I get back into the groove, I think we're gonna be good. And I have a theory. I could be wrong about this, but I have a theory that after when your channel says 100,000 subscribers on it, I think people just take it more seriously. Sponsors are more likely to work with you. By the way, I might have some sponsored videos coming. You guys are probably used to that from watching YouTube, but some people might find that annoying. But hey, you know, trying to get some money here, trying to get a budget here. And of course, I'm not gonna work with any like shady sponsors or sponsors that sell shit that I don't believe in. Yeah, I have Breath of the Wild on Wii U. I never beat it though. Do I work out a lot? I guess. I work out 1 to 3 times a week. Is that a lot? Is that a lot? Although I've sort of slacked off the past week because my normal workout buddy is on vacation, and usually when he's not around, I don't work out. But when he's around, we work out like about 2 to 3 times a week. The most annoying sponsor videos are the video essays that blend their ad in with smooth transitions so you don't realize you're about to get an ad shoved in your face. Interesting. I would think that people would appreciate that more because it becomes part of the content, and if the content is still good, then people would like it. It would be really hard for me to do that with most products because of the style of videos. And I know that the advertisers really love when you do that, when you seamlessly integrate it into the content. They like that a lot. But I don't know if I could really do that. I did a sponsorship kind of like that when I did a sponsorship for MeUndies, because MeUndies was running a sort of a pro LGBT promotion where if you buy like a certain underwear, they would donate to the LGBT center or something. And so I made a video about LGBT. And so I kind of transitioned it in there, but it wasn't really that. It wasn't like supposed to like trick you into being advertised to. But I think what I'll probably just do is just do it at the beginning. Just like, hey, this video is sponsored by this guy. Check this out. And then here's the video. I think that would be the most unannoying way to do it. You can also do it at the end of the video, but I think that sort of like the actual rules, like the law, is that you have to reveal near the beginning that you're being sponsored. I'm curious, why do you think your Doctor Who video is one of your highest rated? I don't know. I guess because the Doctor Who community is like strong on the internet, and they just kind of shared it around. I also think that the video may have gotten shared around Tumblr. And so it may have gotten a lot of views from that. I'm not really sure though. I just like my ads and content separated as much as possible. I don't want my YouTube videos being new age versions of when news anchors talked about their favorite cigarettes. I mean, I guess. I feel like most YouTubers are pretty authentic about advertisements, and they make it clear that they're being sponsored. And I think that usually, at least YouTubers that make YouTube videos seriously for a living, they usually vet their sponsors, and they usually don't work with companies that they don't believe in. But I'm sure there are exceptions to that. So I think with YouTubers it's a little bit different than stuff like that, where they just sort of shill for a shitty product just for the money. I'm sure some people do that, but you know, I think usually it's like just trusted companies that everyone knows is good, like Audible. Like everyone knows Audible is fine. Or just stuff like, hey, play this mobile game. Like it's a mobile game, and the company is, it's a mobile game that already has like 100 million downloads. It's fine. If you don't like it, that's fine, but just check it out. I'm being sponsored. I'm out T1J. What do you think about the Hank Green Elon Musk little kerfuffle? I didn't even know that happened. What is going on with Elon Musk these days? But yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard about that. I try to avoid the drama. I'm not drawn to it like some other people are. Well, it looks like the chat has slowed down, and we're like pushing 2 hours anyway, so I'm gonna head out in about 5 minutes. If there are any like last comments or questions, that would be great. Thanks once again for coming to my stream. Like I said, we're going to try to get back onto the grind of one stream a week. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to do it on Mondays now. Sundays is not the best day. But we'll still call it Livestream Sunday, because why not? Follow me on Twitter if you have Twitter. I'm close to 10,000 followers. I just want to reach that milestone. After that, I'm good. So follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/1janitor. Like I said, I'm working on the video. I'm going to try to get it out before the month is done. Thank you for the super chats and the donations for those who did that. That is always awesome. And actually, the super chats have actually become a pretty, I would say significant part of my monthly income. So that's pretty good. And I appreciate that a lot, because I don't get that much money from ad revenue, because like half my shit gets demonetized. So the super chats sort of make up for the demonetization a lot of the time. And also, if you would like to support me in a more long-term way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You can pledge even $1 a month, and that really goes a long way. I promise it does. So that would be cool. Grimes music is so good, it makes me sad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about Grimes, and I have to get away from this idea that just because someone makes good stuff, that means that they are like a logical, kind person, because that doesn't follow a lot of the time. There's a reason Twitch streamers make good money. People like to donate. Yeah. People like to donate on YouTube too, but I'm just smaller. I don't have the audience where it becomes a huge deal, but that's fine. But yeah, I was there's a streamer called Recful who you may have heard of if you follow streaming, but he used to be well known for playing World of Warcraft. He mostly plays Hearthstone now and just like vlogs. Um, but he mentioned recently that he makes like $20,000 a month in donations or something stupid like that. It's like, what the fuck? That's so much money. But he has like maybe like 9,000 viewers at any given time. So, and I'm nowhere near that. I think for the size of my audience and the amount of people that actually come to my streams, I actually do pretty decently in terms of donations. I'll make anywhere between like $20 and $100 for streaming, which is pretty good when you have like 40 to 100 people watching you. But like I said, the income will come. I think if I continue to focus on my content and just keep making stuff that gets people excited and keep engaging people, I think that the money will come. Like I continue to learn not to focus on the money. That's when you're focusing. If you focus on the money, you're already fucked up. You've already lost. It's hard not to focus on the money when you're like actually poor, but you just can't do it. Would I participate in 368 if they asked? I mean, I guess if there was a capacity that felt that I could be effective in, sure. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna go. If anybody wants to say hello to me or send me another message, feel free to email me, hello@theonejanitor.com, or you can tweet at me, at the one janitor. All right. See you later. Bye.